how you evaluate a job offer and how you evaluate a raise are very similar. So first we want to look at the salary, very basic. So we want to understand if that salary is going to match up to the cost of living of the place that we live. So if you live in San Francisco, making 100 grand is middle class lifestyle. So you need to understand, how much do I really need to make to live a decent life, right? Because if you make 100 grand, somewhere, say in Baltimore, even my hometown, you're going to be living a pretty good life, you know? And that cost of living isn't necessarily super low, but it's obviously not to the level of a San Francisco. So salary, that's basic. We all look at the salary. So we're going to talk about some other factors that you need to think about, that sometimes we're not even aware that we could even get benefits like this if you've never worked at a company or researched a company that offers benefits like this. So this is also like educational, so you know that you could be getting this somewhere. So let's talk about fringe benefits. So there's transportation benefits. So some places will give you kind of a savings account. So it kind of works like an HSA, which we have talked about and we will talk about later. So you can contribute a certain amount of money, and it's before taxes, and will go to your transportation costs, your regular daily commute. Okay, that's one level of transportation benefits. Another level is you get a shuttle, taking you to your workplace, picking you up from near your home and taking you to your workplace, and there's free Wi-Fi. So there's various levels of transportation benefits. And the middle level could be, you get a Metro Pass, or you get reimbursed for your Metro Pass in a city from your company. So these are all possible, and so you need to check that out. Meals. So there's places that have maybe free lunch Friday or free breakfast Friday. There's places where you can get breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single day at those places. There's places where, the cafe at work might be subsidized. So instead of spending, $12 at Panera Bread, you would only spend $6 there. So think about that as well. Athletic facilities, gym memberships, wellness benefits. So some places will say, give you $150 a month where you can spend it anywhere if it has to do with wellness, right? So you could go to the gym, you could get acupuncture, you can get a massage. There's places that have athletic facilities at work. So you can just, hop in the middle of the day and go work out during lunch and take some classes, or just go on the treadmill, go do some cycling. Or they could offer a gym membership. So, they could sponsor a gym membership or reimburse you for a gym membership. So next is tuition, assistance, and professional development. So some companies will reimburse you if you pay for tuition to get a degree that's related to your job. It might be unrelated to your job as well. Some companies do that as well. Skills for tomorrow. They want you to develop skills for tomorrow, even if it's not your job skill set. So you could get some type of reimbursement, and it might not be all, it could be all, but you could get some type of reimbursement for that tuition. You could also have professional development things, like having access to lynda.com or having access to LinkedIn Learning. Those are all ways that you could develop yourself professionally. You could also have access to certain seminars and go to conferences where you get more industry exposure. So when you're looking at a job offer, you should be thinking, oh, will that job provide me those things? So next is stock options. So stock options are basically when a company offers you stock in their company at a discounted price. So this could be amazing in the way that the reason they kind of do this is because it kind of aligns you with the company. So you're going to work harder at your company if you know that you want to make the company better. So then you can make more money from holding that stock, and you got it at a discounted price. So you'll be making a lot more money than, say, the average person that just bought a stock willy-nilly. So check to see stock options and if you want to participate in them. Next is health, dental, and vision plans. So important. So important. A lot of people struggle with healthcare in this country, And you can kind of insulate yourself from the struggle if you have a great employer plan with health, dental, and vision. So there's various plans, and we're going to talk about healthcare later in our insurance section. But you really want to get into the nitty gritty of these details and understand how much you'll be paying for this healthcare and what they cover. Huge, huge one. Next is the retirement options. So does the company provide any retirement options? Do they have a 401k match? Do you have various different types of funds that you can invest in? Like, how many do you have? I know personally, going from my last company to my current company has way more funds that I can invest in. I don't really care because I'm just going to invest in the index fund. But, instead of Vanguard, which I had at my last company, I have Fidelity now. So that could be a difference, right? In terms of, they're different funds, they're different index funds, and they might have a different rate of return. So understanding what kind of retirement options they have is huge. Next is parental leave. So you need to understand the parental leave policy. Doesn't matter if you're a mother or father, you need to understand this policy, because is it that when you go to this company, you're going to have to take short-term disability, right? So you're going to have to fund a short-term disability fund, which is not necessarily the most practical, to take a couple weeks off, to take 12 weeks off, or how long do they give you as paternity or maternity leave? So know this policy, because it could really matter in your life and really be an important factor and one of the most important moments in your life. Next is PTO. Sometimes we don't think about PTO, and I think later I have sick days. So let's just talk about sick days as well, because, is it that you have, 13 days of PTO and sick days, right? So it's a combination. You can take any days, either PTO or sick. Or do you have 13 PTO days and 3 sick days? So it's not combined. So you need to know that PTO policy. I know we like to work a lot, but you need time to reset and decompress. And emergencies happen in life, and you need to know the PTO policy. Next is visa sponsorship. So for those of us that are coming from out of the country to America, we want to understand the visa sponsorship process. I don't know tons and tons about this, but you want to know, okay, am I going to be kicked out of this country at least? And how long do I have to stay here before I have to renew anything? Next is life insurance. So we want to understand, okay, what is the life insurance policy here? We're going to talk about life insurance later in our insurance section. We want to buy life insurance from our company if they offer at a low price. So if they offer something like that at a low price, it's something that is a great benefit. Next is relocation. Yes, that relocation bonus. Everyone loves a relocation bonus. So do they have that? That would be beautiful. Next is a performance bonus. So obviously it depends on your type of job. It could be that your performance bonus is because you're in a sales job and most of your income is from commission. So that goes in a little bit with salary in terms of like, what are the terms of your income? A salary kind of denotes that you're getting a fixed amount of money each month, and performance bonus is a little different, but you want to know how that income is kind of structured, right? Or it could be a performance bonus. It's not based off of like, your sales, but it's based off of just, is the company doing well this year? Okay. They're going to give everyone $1,000 and put it in their 401k, or they might just give everyone $1,000 in cash, so you want to know that. Work from home. So work from home is huge, right? A lot of us can't work from home. So what is the policy on that? Do people work from home every other Friday? And you just work 10-hour days a week to kind of like cover that? Or can you just like, willy-nilly work from home 3 times a week and that's just the structure? Next is adoption assistance. Some companies offer adoption assistance if you're going to adopt a child. So that's something to look out for. We talked about sick days, mobile phone discount. Some companies will give you a phone, right? Just use that phone, use that data instead of using your own phone. Or they might give you a discount to buy a new phone. Next is pet-friendly workplace. Some workplaces, especially startups, might have like the advantage of having dogs there. Or, maybe you don't want a pet-friendly workplace. Maybe you're allergic to cats or not cats. I doubt a lot of people bring their cats. I feel like it's normally dogs. But maybe you're allergic to dogs. You don't necessarily want to work in a place where there's dogs all around you. And I want to go back to salary because when we were talking about just structure of income and we're talking about the performance bonus, another way to evaluate your job offer is if you have equity, right? That's another part of the salary, performance bonus, total income conversation. Okay, if you have 1% equity, if you had 1% equity in, Google, whoa, great. Like, good for you. Like, that's amazing. So equity can really, really matter. And equity is just ownership in a company, right? So you own 1% of Google if you got equity in the company. And so when they IPO'd, meaning they went from a private corporation to a public corporation, and that process is just them kind of raising money, right? The reason they went public is to raise more money to fund their business so that they could make even more money. Well, now you raise more money and now the company is worth more, right? And so you now have so much more money. It's great. So think about equity too. And also think about it in terms of competitors, because normally people that get equity could be in a competitive situation where if you go to another company, you could get more equity. So think about that. So how to evaluate a raise? You need to think about all the things that we talked about in the job offer, because you need to look at your job and say, okay, this is what I'm getting and this is what I might be able to get if I, either petition for it while I like do the process of a raise, or I'm just going to go and skip over to another company. So let's talk about how to evaluate a raise. So note, you should have asked for a raise if you didn't, and you need to be thinking about that every year. At this point, everyone should be asking for a raise every year. And we're going to talk about in some senses why, right? So the projected average raise for 2020 is 3.3%. And the current inflation rate is about 1.7%. So technically, your purchasing power is only increasing by 1.6% if you only receive the average raise. And let's not even think about if you didn't receive a raise or ask for a raise. And the best employees are expected to receive a 4.6% raise. Research average salaries of your job with the same level of education and experience, and consider jumping ship if, your salaries aren't matching up to what your research says. So just think about it. If you don't get a raise, or you just don't ask for a raise and don't get a raise, your purchasing power is only increasing by 1.6%. Inflation is a crazy thing, and your money is worth less in the future than it is today. And so you don't want to be in this situation where technically, you're only actually getting a 1.6% raise if you're getting the average one. And if you're not getting a raise, that means that your money is worth, what is that math? It's worth 98.3% tomorrow compared to today, which is 100%. So really, really think about all of the factors we talked about in that job offer slide, and then do that in conjunction with your research about your experience level and your education level, and then the average salaries of other jobs in your industry, and really evaluate that. and make a smart and maybe tough decision.